to Hoist the Colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, December 31st. It is New Year's Eve. Hope everybody's making their New Year's resolutions. I still need to make some of my own. I have not done that. We're still basking in the glow of the East Carolina Military Bowl victory over NC State. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Drop a question, comment, a concern. We will get to it over the next hour. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to talk specifically a lot about the ongoing transfer portal, the departures for ECU. We'll break down that, what it really means. Every transfer is not created equal, which we'll get into. We have ECU basketball starting conference play today. We'll touch on that. I've got many thoughts on Pirate Hoops. I'm sure Philip Pilkington does as well. He will join us here in a second. And then we also are going to touch on the college football playoff second round, which gets underway tonight. So Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. It is just me and you today. We've got a lot to discuss, so we're going to take as much time as we can with yourself and I, and also answer everybody's questions. But New Year's resolutions, you got any on the docket?
I haven't thought about it, so I'm going to go with watch more random bowl games, baby. Let's go. There's 4 random ones on today prior to the playoffs starting, and I'm here for it. Let's go. College football.
More random bowl games to start off the New Year's. That's I'm sure that'll really set the tone for a special year, Philip.
It will. I don't know. I've never been a New Year's resolution person. I don't know. If I need to fix something in my life, I'm not going to wait till a specific date to do it.
I'm with you. Usually, and to me, like if you're doing the New Year's resolutions thing, it's probably like it's not going to last either. I mean, I'm sure it does for some people, but for most, I don't think it does.
My roommate and I were talking about it this morning, Thomas, and we were like, when you do something that's like, oh, I need to be better about this, like his was last year, flipping less people off while driving. Something that's easily done, and you don't have to like break and drink. He's just going to have less road rage. He just wanted to have less road rage. That's a good resolution.
He can also just stop doing that the day he flicks somebody off. He's like, I probably shouldn't do this anymore. He doesn't have to wait till a new year.
That is true, but that was his thing. I respect it. So I guess mine will be maybe this year I'll lay onto the horn less to people while driving because I like to blow the horn.
So less road rage from Philip coming your way, perhaps. All right, we got some comments already. Shores444 says, missed stream yesterday, but man, what an electric game. Had fun watching us beat the Wolfpack in fantastic fashion while being off from work. Yeah, you can check the replay, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also archived on YouTube and Facebook. Pirate2031 says, let's not ruin our post-bowl glow with any ECU basketball talk. Look, man, I'm with you. I am very disappointed with non-conference play. We'll get into that, and we still got to talk about Pirate Hoops, conference play. We'll mainly discuss it from a big picture standpoint and what ECU needs to do in league play to kind of right the ship after, quite honestly, a very disappointing non-conference finish. And Sean Britton says, do we still have any secondary guys on the roster, not including new transfers? All right, so we'll start this show with some transfer portal fallout. So a lot of departures from East Carolina in the transfer portal, specifically in the secondary following the Military Bowl win. Now, I do want to add a few things for context here. All right, so the four significant players that have entered the portal since East Carolina ended the season. Gavin Gibson, starting nickel. Now, Blake Harrell made the comments after the game. If you haven't seen it now, it's pretty well publicized. We shared it on Twitter. It's got a ton of retweets and likes. He made the comment. He was asked about NC State. Is NC State a rivalry? He wasn't really addressing NC State in his answer, although he did initially. Then he mentioned another school up the road about an hour and a half that is taking ECU's players and doesn't want to play ECU. And Blake made the comment, well, let's not call that one a rivalry either, but let's put them on the schedule instead of taking our players. I have very sources close to the situation that have said basically Gavin Gibson was recruited into the portal by North Carolina, offered a lot of money. This was a deal that was I don't want to say struck before the bowl game, but was in the motion before the bowl game. And obviously Gavin played in the bowl game, played pretty well. Did miss a tackle and a big run, but otherwise had a sack and I think a pass breakup at one point. But he's in the bowl, or he's in the transfer portal after the Military Bowl. We'll visit North Carolina this coming week. We'll see if he ends up there. But that was who Blake's comment, I believe, was directed at, based on information I have. Now, the other three players that have entered from the secondary after the bowl game, Kingston McKinstry, a senior nickelback who actually backed up Gavin for much of the season. Kingston was originally out of eligibility. The plan was for him to move on. The JUCO waiver, he spent a couple years at Iowa Central Community College. He now has an extra year to play with, so his intention was he was done at ECU. He's already graduated. He wants to pursue, I think, his master's elsewhere. He enters the portal. That ends on good terms. Jordan Huff, another guy going into his 7th year of college football, had formerly played JUCO as well, has dealt with injuries, really has not been productive the second half of the season. Talented player when he's confident. Look at the Charlotte tape. He lost his confidence that day. That was not a good day for Jordan Huff. So I don't think that one was a situation where ECU necessarily was going to pay a bunch of money to have Jordan Huff back. And then Dontavius Nash, the last, from my sources, was not going to receive the same NIL money he got in 2024 heading into 2025. That was the decision the collective was going to make. And Dontavius obviously had a good play in the game, a memorable play. But this was also a situation where I don't think ECU was going to pay Dontavius Nash, who from Pro Football Focus's metrics had graded out below average as a cornerback this season in most of his games and had actually given up a touchdown earlier in the Military Bowl. So I just want to provide some context. It's not like all these guys are willingly leaving for a big payday. Now, Gavin Gibson is. The rest, not necessarily. We'll see where they end up. But the big picture point of it is, Philip, either way, ECU's got a lot of holes to fill in the secondary. We know Isaiah Brown-Murray, who did leave on his own accord to Virginia Tech. You're down a starting cornerback there. Of course, you had other defensive players leave as well. So all of a sudden, you look across this defense for next season, and it's almost a brand-new defense outside of J.D. Lampley at defensive end and Jamarly Riddle, given all the losses we've seen.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of the weird thing. You'd think with the DC of all people being promoted to the new head coach, the defense is the side of the ball that you would keep. And look, we knew we were going to be graduating a lot. That's first and foremost. And then obviously Savon, he was going to leave and go to the NFL. So, it's interesting that it happened. It's disappointing that it happened. But at the end of the day, look, this is the world we live in, and no disrespect to any of these guys, but I don't think we're losing anyone that's not pretty quickly replaceable. These are guys, yes, they're going to have to come in, they're going to have to learn the system, they're going to have to learn the culture of Pirate football, but at the end of the day, there is a lot of average players in college football. That's why they're average. And a lot of the guys you're losing are guys you can win with, but they're not guys that you win because they're on the field. You win because other guys are on the field and they're pieces. And most of the guys we're losing, yes, I know Pirate fans are frustrated, but at the end of the day, they're pieces. They're good pieces to have. You wish they would stay, but it ain't like Simone Revel just hit the portal. It's not a player like that. It's not a guy who's a game wrecker. And at the end of the day, even when you look at some of the greatest defenses of all time, whether it be college or pro, yeah, you've got 3 or 4 stars on the field paired with 7 or 8 just pieces. And look, that's what we lost. And this coaching staff will find guys who can fit that mold. They will coach them up, and this defense should still be successful next year. Yeah, we're going to have to learn a lot of new names. They're going to have to learn each other's new names, new faces. They're going to have to learn to play together. But, hey, guess what? Us and 133 other FBS teams. So, you know what? Is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is college football now. Nothing should surprise any of us, and you almost are numb to these portal entries, and the portal works both ways. I mean, you can use the portal as a coach to I don't want to say kick players out of your program, but obviously you in a sense can cut players, and then you're going to lose some players that you don't want to lose, like Gavin Gibson, who you look at the metrics this year. Gavin Gibson was one of ECU's highest graded defensive backs, posting a 70.6 Pro Football Focus grade. Now, PFF, there's some differing measures of their opinion out there, but for the most part, they're going to grade a player over a sample size of a full season pretty accurately. The scale is 0 to 100. 60 is considered average or replacement level. Just to give some context here, and again, I'm not taking shots to these guys. This is just like, this is college football now. It's in many ways it's like professional football. So Dontavius Nash, 58.2 overall defensive grade, below average, slightly below average. So a guy you could probably replace. Jordan Huff this year finished with a 57 defensive grade, and Kingston McKinstry with a 52.5. So none of these guys are, again, would it be nice to have stability players? Absolutely, but you can replace them going off Phillips' point. And now Isaiah Brown-Murray, highly graded corner, played really well, had obviously a lot of big plays over his career, but he wasn't a guy who's going to take over a game like a Savone Revel. So there is a difference, but certainly you don't want to lose Isaiah, you don't want to lose Gavin. But not every player entering the portal is leaving for more money, and I think that'll bear out in time. Javius Bond, ECU running back. A lot of people thought he left for more money. Well, he is now a defensive back at Austin Peay. So you just never know sometimes, and there's more than meets the eye on a lot of this stuff. All right, Sean Britton says, do we have any secondary guys on the roster, not including new transfers? So Jamali Riddle's the big one at safety, who played really well this year, finished with a high grade according to several metrics. Was a guy that I think can be a very good player going forward for ECU. As a freshman, finished with a 72.8 PFF grade. I think he'll be a really good safety in time. You're also slated to return Demarius Hines, another freshman safety who played some this year. Those two guys I think will play a lot of football next year. Other corners currently on the roster, we'll see how the next few days go. Again, players have till Thursday to get into the portal with the bowl game. You get 5 days after the bowl game. Past the deadline. So you are scheduled to bring back Tymier Brown, Andrew Wilson-Lamp at corner. Eric Fletcher is a freshman who redshirted this year, who's got high upside. Keyshawn Jackson, who actually had the hit that forced the fumble that wasn't a fumble, is a preferred walk-on redshirt freshman who has a chance to be good, 6'3" corner. And you've got some other guys as well. Incoming transfers, you added Jordy Lowry at FCS All-American corner from Western Carolina, who I expect to compete for a starting spot. And then you got Tegan Wilk coming back. So you got several guys in the mix. They still need to add 1, 2, 3 more, but it is what it is right now. You're going to have a lot of turnover. And, Philip, the other thing, too, is if you're going to have a lot of turnover defensively, with the new DC coming in, a new cornerbacks coach coming in, A, they can probably bring some players with them, but B, you would like to have some turnover probably when you're about to install a new defense as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because then when you do install a new defense, even the guys who stayed, it kind of is turnover in a way, right? And even though it's not a turnover for you, it's a turnover for them. So you're still going to have new guys in this role. Every role will be someone new because this defense did not exist last year. At least at East Carolina, it did not exist. It was ran under a different scheme, under a different coach. So obviously, Blake Harrell's still going to have some hand, I'm sure, in the defense. That was part of the interview process, I'm sure, was, hey, what kind of defense you going to run? It's got to go based off how East Carolina has recruited defensive players, based off scheme and things like that. So not everything will be new, but some things will be new. So, yes, to your point, Iko, it's a lot better, if you're going to change a lot of stuff up anyways, this might as well be the year you have turnover. Now, with this being said, if all things go well next year, we have the exact same coaching staff going into 2026. We are still going to have just as many guys hit the portal, so this point is slightly irrelevant.
That is true. It just feels like this year, especially with the defensive line and everything, it's just like you're starting from scratch in many ways outside of JD and maybe Riddle, at least in terms of proven players. All right, so other questions here. Mark Smith has a comment. He says the portal has destroyed college football. There should be only one transfer allowed without sitting out unless a coach leaves. Look, I agree, Mark. It would be nice to have some guidelines here. I do think once this House settlement comes down in the years to come, you'll see some sort of governance. But right now, there is no governance of college football, which is creating a lot of the issues. Sean Britton says, how likely any of the high school guys coming in will be a big part of the next year on the defensive side? Look, Sean, I follow recruiting, and I follow it closely. And the coaches recruit these guys, and they evaluate them closely. You can have projections on who you think is going to make an impact. More times than not, it doesn't matter. Until they get here, until they practice, until they play in a game under the lights and react, you just don't know. So you never want to count on freshmen. Now, who do I think can make an impact? Darion Horsley is a 6'2 corner who will be in for January. I think he's got the talent and length to play right away. I also do like some of the athletes they've added on the defensive side of the ball in the front with Dominic Moody, Josiah Dwyer, and Dylan Worthen. But with the way college football is going, you're going to see, I think, less and less freshmen make impacts just because it's so easier to get experienced players in the portal. Now, I do think you'll see, just due to the numbers, a few of these defensive players play next season. But you also got some guys in the program that have been redshirted, that have developed over the last year or two that are going to step into larger roles next season. A lot of these guys were no names. A lot of these guys leaving right now were no names when they came into the ECU program. Gavin Gibson transferred from Maryland, where he was a third-string player for the most part and special teams guy. Now he's leaving for a payday, potentially at North Carolina, because he developed and made a name for himself at ECU. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, and keep repeating the cycle, because this is what college football is now. So there is your transfer portal update. Again, if you got any more questions, comments, we will get to those on the show going forward. Logan does that. I thought we were really going to miss Barker and IBM in the bowl game, but I think the defense held up pretty well without them. Other guys will step up. And Blake Harrell has shown a knack, and I think this new coach, Josh Aldridge, will also bring some guys that will fit his scheme well. It should be a similar scheme, but also some differences as well. All right, we'll get more into that. We'll also talk some Pirate Hoops on the other side. Conference play starts this afternoon, 3 o'clock. We'll preview that and more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Everything you need to know in the world of ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. Quick programming note. Thursday marks the return of the Logan Zone, 5 to 7 p.m. Philip Hilkin has been producing that all year. We did a holiday special where I co-hosted it with Coach Logan. We're going to keep that format through the remainder of the 6 shows for this season. So there will be 5 shows, 5 Thursdays left in January. And then the first Thursday in February as well, I'm going to co-host with Steve Logan. Philip will also be along for the ride. We'll go live from 5 to 7, be taking your calls, but also just really the easiest way. Coach Logan loves the calls, but I've started a thread on Hoist the Colors now to get in some questions for Coach Logan, which if I don't get to him on this show, we'll have the next 5 shows to get to him because we all know Coach Logan, long-winded, has a lot of great stories, and sometimes we have time to get to questions, other times we don't. But if you drop your comments there and also send out a tweet going into those shows, we'll archive those and make sure we get those in the remainder of the year. So looking forward to teaming up with Coach Logan, helping with his show the remainder of the season. All right, Hoist the Colors, by the way, we'll be off tomorrow for New Year's Day. We'll be back Thursday and Friday with regular programming as well. All right, we did have a question about picking the Michigan-Bama game. Yeah, we did pick all the bowl games today and tomorrow off the air. Philip, you and I have Bama, correct? And Bobby has Michigan?
Yeah, that's correct. I got the spreadsheet pulled up now.
Philip is still – so for those not following at home, we are picking every single bowl game, and we've been picking pretty much college and NFL game, a handful of the best games all year. Philip is leading, barely. I'm bad at bad bowl games. Last place. And thus far, it looks like we may be, although it's extremely early, Michigan off to a 3-0 lead. Bama, the line is at 14.5, so Bama's got some work to do.
They do, and it's in a monsoon right now. I don't know if you're watching it, but
I'm not.
Actually, we have it at 14 on our spreadsheet. That's what you put.
Well, I must have saw the line.
Yeah,
line elsewhere just now.
Yeah, but it's. It's when I say like it's a monsoon, it really is. Like it looks like you're watching like old grainy footage because it's raining so hard. So this could make for a fun next 3 hours while I'm waiting for Pirate basketball to start.
Other random bowl games today: Louisville, Washington in the Sun Bowl, South Carolina, Illinois in the Citrus Bowl, Baylor, LSU in the Kinder's Texas Bowl, and then the big one tonight: Penn State, Boise State. We are going to pick the college football playoff games in our next segment, but first, we have got to talk East Carolina hoops. Philip, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
That was a ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not trying to bash the program. I want ECU basketball to be successful, but after the way the non-conference ended, I'm very frustrated.
Bama just fumbled a routine handoff. We've lost.
No. Hey, that's okay. The last time you freaked out on air about Navy, Oklahoma, you ended up looking much better down the line. So, hey, long game. South Florida hosts ECU today, 3 o'clock, New Year's Eve. A winnable game to start conference play. I think ECU is a 1.5-point underdog at last check. South Florida is not very good. Now, look, they've had a brutal circumstance with their head coach passing away right before the start of the season. They're 6-6 against Division I teams, 7-6 overall. They are 2-14 in the net. ECU 8-5. The record looks pretty good until you strip away the two non-D1 wins. They are 6-5. They are 205 in the net. They do have 2 Quad 3 wins, but they have only played 1 game against Quad 2, 0 games against Quad 1. So ECU, South Florida, both struggling. Do you have any thoughts on this game, Philip, at 3 o'clock today?
This is a reset opportunity for both teams, right? Both teams have bad losses. And recently, right? You know, ECU's coming off Gardner-Webb, and then 2 times before that, you lose North Alabama. They've lost to Bethune-Cookman, and there was somebody else in there who was really bad. Both teams had some time off for the Christmas holiday. There's X amount of days, according to required by the NCAA, that the players have to go home. Now, when those dates fall, all vary based off your schedule. But this is a reset opportunity. Look, they've gone through something that, you know, no other team has gone through. That is part of the reason for their struggles. We didn't expect them to be as good as they were a year ago. They were still projected to be one of the top teams in the conference, though. I think they were slated like 4th or 5th in the preseason. As for ECU, look, this is a team who, you know, looked good against George Mason. If you hit a few threes against South Carolina, you probably win the game because you actually went out there and played with South Carolina and South Carolina. Now, South Carolina didn't look good last night. They were down at halftime to Presbyterian by like 8 points. So there is that. But it's both teams' opportunity to hit the reset button. It starts now. The team, yes, you've been struggling, but your opponent's been struggling too. And if you don't figure it out right now, it could be a long next 18 games for you. So, big opportunity for both teams. Conference play is the beginning of the regular season. We all know that. Go out there, be 1-0 today. And you know, whatever happens, whatever already happened, happened. It's done. You can't worry about it. You can't worry about Gardner-Webb. Can't worry about North Alabama. It is what it is. But don't start bad today.
The conference is not very good. Speaking of bad, I was trying to see what KenPom has USF at, and it's not. All right, so USF, according to KenPom, at 179, ECU at 171. So this is a pretty evenly matched game against 2 very mediocre teams right now going to the conference play. But the conference as a whole, ECU right now is 205, sub 200 in the net, and there are 6 teams still ranked beneath them in the net, which is not good for a team that wants to be a multi-bid league. ECU right now part of the issue, but South Florida below 200, UAB the preseason favorite below 200, UTSA 229, Charlotte 239, Tulsa is 310th in the net. Oof. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, so this league, I mean, the thing about this league is, Philip, you do have some chances to get some wins. ECU has never won more than 7 games in the American. Now, that was the old American with Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati, a little bit of a different gauntlet, so you have to mention that. But what would constitute as a good showing in the American, given how down the league is, and the fact that you've never finished above 500 in this league, although it is a much different iteration of it, it appears?
I think you need to go 500. You know, we've never even gone 500.
Yeah.
In the American.
Never even close to it, really.
Yeah, and look, Memphis doesn't appear to be taking their fall that they normally take this time of year. They've played good through late December. Looked good last week against, God, they played somebody good at home. Ole Miss, who was ranked. They won that game. That's the only team that you're going to face that
you have no shot at?
Yeah, that you got no shot at. As bad as this has been and as frustrated as Pirate fans are, pretty much every other team in the league has felt the same way throughout a conference play. So, at the end of the day, you only play Memphis once. So let's play. Let's say you lose to Memphis, and now we're going to talk about 17 games. If you are damn near equally matched in those 17 games, let's win more than we lose. Let's go 9-8 against teams not named Memphis. I'm gonna be. I can live with that.
Yeah, I mean, I probably can too, but it's just like, is that good? I guess it would be historically, but I just think the league is so bad this year. But it's a starting point. I think that's the fair barometer. If you go below 500, I think that is even more disappointing, than what we've seen in non-conference play. ECU again. So at South Florida to start today, then Florida Atlantic at home. FAU is one of the teams that is playing well in the league. They are 91st in the net. They've put a tough schedule. They're 6-6 against Division I foes. But I tell you what, if you win today, Philip, Sunday at 1 o'clock, although I'm going to be – I can't stand these games. I know this is not an ECU decision. This is a TV decision. These dang games in the primetime NFL window. Why do we get home games during NFL windows? And I know it's TV related, drives me nuts, but like you're not going to get a good crowd more than likely if you're playing right in the midst of the final NFL weekend of the year.
This is the first year, at least we've not been home championship NFL Sunday in a while, which is big. This comes down to ESPN. We are the lowest conference that has a big ESPN contract. So there's some that have ESPN only, but the fact that we actually get put on big ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, we're the smallest conference. So they realize there's going to be less eyes on their product during NFL Sunday. So they're not going to stick North Carolina and Wake Forest on at that time because they really don't want to hurt the ratings for that when they can slide them in on Tuesday night. But instead of no one watching ESPN, they're like, we're going to get some diehard ECU and FAU fans, and we are the poor people that suffer that have to choose between watching American Conference basketball and the thing that owns the day of the week in the NFL. ESPN, put 30 for 30s on in that day and just accept the fact that for 1 second, people will not be watching your product. Okay, Disney? We're tired of your crap. You stink anyways. SportsCenter's not what it used to be. All your hosts, for the most part, are morons. Kendrick Perkins needs to be off there. You guys are – Mike and Jamel from 5 years ago was the dumbest idea ever. ESPN, you constantly mess up. Can you get one thing right? Quit putting American Athletic Conference games on Sunday afternoons in the middle of the NFL season. Disney is a joke. ESPN's a joke. Quit going woke. Quit putting stupid hosts on there and get SportsCenter back to where I got the ticker on the side and I know which game you're going to show me next. I want 2006 ESPN. I said it.
2006 ESPN is the only ESPN I recognize. I very rarely watch it. I watched it after the bowl games to see if they showed any ECU
You gotta
NC
watch
State
SVP.
highlights.
SVP is
I
like
do watch SVP.
is a Pirate fan. He will not admit it, but he's always saying no quarter. We're done. Yes, Scott Van Pelt is the only thing good. I mean, there's I like McAfee and a couple of those guys, but for the most part, ESPN's ruined itself.
Yeah, outside of the games, I watch a very little ESPN program in which the games are a big deal. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. If ECU wins today, Philip, they're going to start conference play 3-0. I think if ECU wins today, they're going to beat FAU, and then they're going to beat Temple at home. And I think if they lose today, they're going to start conference play 0-6.
Wow. 3-0.
That is my
0-6.
prediction. I think today's game is the swing game for the entire conference slate.
Okay.
I think if you win this game, there's going to be a lot of people. I won't say a lot. There'll be some people more interested for Sunday's game. If you lose today, I think you're going to have a lot of people out. It's going to be a lazy Sunday. FAU's good. They're going to come in. They're going to roll. Then Temple's going to come in. They're going to be ready to go. Then you got to go to Memphis. Then you host North Texas, which is good. Then you got to go to Wichita. I mean, if you don't win today, it could get away from you quick, is my prediction.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely could. I'm not disagreeing with if you lose today, you start 0-6. But I don't know about beating FAU Sunday regardless.
Hey. It's all about momentum.
After I just said you'll be in every game except for Memphis, but stupid Michigan scored again.
Still can't shoot is a problem.
Yeah, still can't shoot. And if we lose today, you and I might be the only people. It might be us, Grady, Katie, whoever else is required to be there on Sunday. Are you going Sunday? You send an intern.
I don't know. I tell you what, if they win today, I'll be there Sunday.
If they lose, which intern are you going to send?
If they lose, I'm going to send whoever will step up to the plate.
Nobody's going to respond in that chat. Everybody's going to be like, so it's my grandma's birthday. My best friend's little sister's
They're pretty
hamster
good at coming
died.
up with excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some hard workers in there, too.
I know.
All right,
I'm
let's
just
get a break in.
because I can.
Pirates, 3 o'clock today. You can check out the coverage on 94.3 The Game. They take on South Florida in Tampa. Conference opener. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk college football playoff and more. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Okay, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. Got a few comments I want to address before we talk college football playoff. We were talking ECU basketball. Mark Smith says these holiday games have traditionally been horrible for ECU. I will be shocked to get a win. It does feel like ECU struggles on these New Year's Day or New Year's Eve game. Hopefully they can find a way in Tampa. Johnny Robertson saying, I feel like Jan Farrell is ready to take a step up. I hope so, because he is about one of the few guys who is a proven three-point shooter on the roster. Hunter Corbett says Kendrick Perkins catching strays. Hunter is one of our fan favorites of the Random Bowl segment that we used to do. We'll have to come up with another good segment for Hunter. John Moody also asked, do any of the players suspended for the brawl have to miss next year's opener? My understanding is, and Philip, I don't know if you have any insight here, if you're suspended for fighting, or if you're ejected for fighting, you are suspended the first half of the next game if it comes in the second half, kind of similar to targeting. So you could potentially see those players exited if it's deemed they were ejected for target or for fighting, and I don't know why it wouldn't be deemed fighting. They will be suspended the first half of next season's game, is my understanding. I don't know. Do you have any clarification or have you heard anything?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the rule as it relates to fighting. You seem to know more about it than I do. But what I do know is if this was a targeting incident in the second half, that suspension would carry over to next season. So if what Steven is saying is correct, which, I mean, I believe you, then
there's a 75% chance
there's
it's
right. 75% chance it's right. Then yes, if it is something that carries over into the next game, the NCAA does roll suspensions like that over into the next season, and these players would be out for the first half. Or if it is one of those things where you're suspended, say, for one more game after fighting, like you are in high school, it does go over into the next season. It doesn't, the off season doesn't cancel that out.
All right, JJ adds, just wanted to say that I really don't think you give Caton enough credit for what he did. It's not all the things that you see. It's all the things you don't see and know about that's happening on and off the field. Look, I've been Caton Hauser's biggest supporter since the preseason, and you can go back and read all my practice reports. I thought he looked like the better quarterback as far as managing and knowing the offense, knowing what reads to make. They named Garcia the starter. I was surprised at the time. I think Caton has proven that he's the guy for the job, and I said Monday that his stat line read a lot worse than he played. He was critical to the game. He plays with confidence. He brings a calmness to the offense. So definitely happy with Caton. And he's also had other opportunities with NIL and all that stuff and decided to stay. He did, I do want to report, he did have surgery yesterday on the wrist injury he's dealt with since the preseason. He will be in a cast for around 6 weeks from what I'm hearing, and hopefully we'll be back for some of spring ball, at least on a limited capacity. But he's the guy going forward. He should be the guy going forward, and he deserves a lot of the credit. And I think he's a massive reason why ECU turned around their season, along with the hiring of Blake Harrell. So I feel like we've given Caton his fair share on this show, Philip.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talk about him, I think, more off air than we do talk about him on air. Because I will say we don't talk about him as much maybe as we should, but maybe that's to his compliment that we don't talk about him. Maybe it's just we're saying, hey, you know what? This is what our expectations are. We have high expectations for him. He meets them, and it was kind of the same thing with, obviously you and I weren't doing the show, but it was the same thing when it was with Patrick's show there down the stretch with Holton. Like, I didn't always praise Holton, and that was a compliment to Holton. It's because I knew what he was capable of, and when he went out there and he did it week in and week out, I think it kind of went without saying, and that's how I kind of feel about Caton Hauser. We praise him those first two games, and he's set the bar very high for himself, very high. I think now I've set the bar very high for him, and when he goes out there and he meets expectations, it's just another day at the office.
I agree. Like, at this point, he is the guy, and I expect him to play well. And but I am happy for him because I got to meet his dad in person at the bowl game. Really good family, and I've been talking to him for a while. So really happy that Caton has found a home, and I know he loves it here. All right, so we'll talk a lot about Caton throughout this offseason leading into next year, undoubtedly. Robert Dedrick says there are a few 3-star football players who we can get for free. No NIL from academies in Europe. They just want to be on a team. Oklahoma grabbed an offensive tackle from England. Might have to get creative. I'll let Blake Harrell know. Anybody with size, I don't care where they're coming from. If they can move their feet, we'll take them right now for the offensive and defensive line. And if they can cover somebody in the secondary, we'll take them too. Let's talk some college football playoff, Philip, before we run out of time. It's here, and I feel like this round should be much more competitive than the opening round. I mean, when you match up the higher seeds on their home field against the lower seeds, it's not a surprise to see some blowouts. Your slate ahead is Boise State and Penn State tonight, 7:30 Eastern. And then New Year's Day, man, what a day it's going to be. Texas, Arizona State in the Peach Bowl at 1 o'clock Eastern. The Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Oregon at 5, and then Notre Dame, Georgia at 8:45. What game are you looking forward to most, Philip?
Biasly or unbiasedly?
Bias all the way.
Bias all the way?
You gotta wear it with your heart, yeah.
My generation, we all kind of grew up as like closet Boise State fans. We'd get together on Friday nights as kids and watch Boise State run 70 on Fresno State, man. They, for years, have deserved a shot. They're not going to win tonight, probably. They're definitely not going to win the national championship. But this is a team who has had multiple undefeated seasons and then been told, no, you don't have a chance to play for a championship despite having not messed up. Boise deserves it. This is 20-plus years in the making. Boise State will finally play in the college football playoff, so I'm most excited for that. But neutrally, it's the Rose Bowl. That's going to be the best game probably.
Absolutely. Rose Bowl setting with Ohio State, Oregon. Doesn't get much better than that. But I am most excited about Boise State, Penn State, just because I love the underdog, and I think Boise State wins outright tonight. All right, we need to make some picks. I do want to read this comment from Hunter because it's pretty funny. He just says, quote, just keep talking about ECU basketball, and it will be just as compelling as the bowl segment. He's talking about our picks or our funny bowl segment. So, hey, we got that done. We're now on to college football playoff. We're going to make some picks. We'll pick 2 games and then pick 2 games on the other side against the spread. All right, Boise State. I have the numbers here pulled up. Let me see. All right, Boise State is an 11-point dog against Penn State. For me, that's just too many points. Boise, I think they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I think they win the game. I'm definitely taking the points. Phillip.
Yeah, they are not going to be overwhelmed by the size of Penn State because they've already played Oregon this year. They've played Oregon in Eugene. Yes, that was 3 months ago, but these guys still know how to play and be successful against a big team. That was a game where there was a couple odd touchdowns. Play in and play out, Boise was the better football team. Gut feeling they don't win it tonight, but I definitely like them plus 11. And Bobby, by the way, also picked Boise as well.
And Fiesta Bowl Magic. They have been there. Not this particular team, but
half these guys were probably not born when Jared Zabrowski did the Statue of Liberty to Ian Johnson.
Hey, it's the aura of the moment, though. Much like when ECU beat NC State in a bowl game in '91, they did it again in 2024.
There you go.
All right, our last pick before our break. Texas, 13-point favorite against Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. Look, Arizona State has been a nice story, and I do think they are good. I like watching their running back, Scatabo. I mean, what a name. What a player. But I think Texas is just too good. Give me the Longhorns here, plus 13. I think they win by a couple touchdowns.
Hook 'em, baby. This will be the worst game of the week. Give me the Longhorns by, I think it's going to be close to 20.
Boise, or I called Bobby Boise. Boise Bobby is on Arizona State. So he is picking Arizona State to cover the 13. It would be fun if we get a close game here, but I'm just not seeing it. I'm interested to see what the crowd is. Peach Bowl between Arizona State and Texas. I feel like it's got to be pretty heavily Texas, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I'd think so. And real quick, the Boise game, I know it's backtracking. Is that the Fiesta Bowl?
It is.
They're 3-0 in Fiesta Bowls. First year, the New Year's Six, they beat Arizona in it. They beat TCU in it. Obviously, they famously beat the TCU was a Kellen Moore team, probably arguably the best team in Boise history. And then, obviously the game against Adrian Peterson Sooners. So there you go. Maybe they do have
history.
A little Fiesta Bowl magic.
Repeats tonight. All right, Mark Smith says take the points in Boise. They lose close. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll pick the other 2 games and close the show with some thoughts after this. This is Hoist the Colors on New Year's Eve.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Hey, On the mountain, we've got a saying. Get off your... Show off.
Mountain Dew.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save at Greenville Toyota.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahar, matey.
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the colors. Final few minutes here on Tuesday's New Year's Eve edition of the show. We just made some college football playoff picks, and we are going to continue on with that. We picked, each of us took Boise and Texas. Bobby Howard, who joins us every Friday, gets his picks in as well. He's on Boise plus 11 with Boise, and then he's on Arizona State plus 13. So Philip Pilkington and I on Texas. Let's continue on with our picks. We got the Rose Bowl tonight, Oregon and Ohio State. This is a rematch of the regular season where Ohio State failed to get a playoff at the end due to Will Howard's lack of judgment. Oregon is a 2.5-point dog in this game, in the Rose Bowl. It just feels wrong. Dan Lanning, we know he can motivate. And I look, something worries me about this game that Ohio State's going to just play better. But I'm done with Ohio State. Give me Oregon. Give me Oregon by 2 touchdowns. I think they blow them out.
I'm excited.
Give me the Ducks, baby.
Hey, look at this. We're keeping tradition alive with new 12-team playoff, Rose Bowl, 5 o'clock, New Year's Day. A historic Pac-12 team against a historic Big Ten team. Even those two teams in the Big Ten, but hey, the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. So I love it. But you know what I even love more than this? The Ducks, baby. Give me the Ducks.
Yeah. How surprised are you Ohio State's favorite here? Or is this just Vegas playing the market?
Vegas playing the market. It's tough to beat a team twice in 1 year. They barely beat them at home.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Michigan has 43 yards of offense, and they have 16 points.
What is Alabama? Is Alabama
Bama has
horrific?
negative 1 yard.
I mean, are they going to really lose to a bad Michigan team and a bad Oklahoma team?
It's Milroe, man.
And Vandy?
Milroe's been stripped twice.
Kalen DeBoer, what are we doing? All right, Sugar Bowl, Notre Dame, Georgia without Carson Beck. I don't even know if that's a bad thing. Georgia,
he declared
1-point
for the
favorite.
draft, by the way. He's not coming back for his final year. Oh.
Can't wait to see who ends up with him. Georgia, 1-point favorite. I'd never pick Notre Dame in these types of games. Give me the Dogs.
Yeah, same here. Come on, Bobby. Bobby's got the Irish. It will not be the luck of the Irish. It will not be.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Is Bobby on? Is he on Georgia, or is he on Notre Dame? Or is he on Oregon as well?
Yeah, he's on the Ducks, and then for some reason he's on the Irish. He just likes the color green.
I think he's a closet Notre Dame fan.
Maybe.
All right. There are your picks for the college football playoff, and we will be back again on Friday with Bobby doing our, I guess, NFL picks. And we get I guess there are a few bowl games after this, but they're not very good. So we'll still pick them because we're picking every bowl game.
Yeah, there's one Friday night, the one in Charlotte. And then we get the Bahamas Bowl Saturday at 11 a.m. Usually this is like the first game, and this year it's the last one. Had to get everybody's passport ready, I guess. So, hey, our friend Jim Zoki will be on the call on the radio for our for the Friday night game in Charlotte. So there you go.
There you go. And we also have the American, North Texas and Texas State. The American has a chance to go to 7-1 in bowl season. So massive game on Saturday between the Mean Green and Bobcats. So looking forward to that. All right, Philip, this was a lot of fun. Appreciate you as always, man.
Yeah, it was a good time.
We will be off tomorrow for New Year's Day. Hope everybody has a great evening. Stay safe. Drink responsibly. Call an Uber if you must. But everybody enjoy the new year. We'll be back Thursday, 12 noon, to talk ECU, CFP, and whatever else we want to get into. We will see you then.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more